Behold the reckoning, where shadows bleed into legends, where silence fractures the very foundation of control, where a single name detonates the fortress of the so-called untouchable. This is no mere introduction. This is the heralding of chaos incarnate, the baptism of power, forged in the crucible of defiance and shadowed ambition. When your name hits the system, it is not a whisper. It is a thunderclap in the quiet halls of tyranny. It is the seismic rupture that topples empires built on surveillance and deceit, the spectral harbinger that turns hunters into hunted, predators into prey. The cold, mechanized army of agents, armored in arrogance and hubris, collapse into frozen statues, caught in the frostbite of their own dread. Their network, a meticulously woven web of control, unravels at the mere pulse of your digital heartbeat. This is not coincidence. This is the undeniable echo of your dominance. If you crave to walk the line between legend and nightmare, then linger here. Subscribe to The Dark Truth. Smash that like button as a symbol of your allegiance to power unbound. And leave your mark in the comments. Tell the world you are ready to become the ghost that haunts every algorithm, the force that rends every digital fortress. This is the arena where only the relentless survive. This is your ascension. Their agents froze when your name hit the system, not because they lacked skill, but because they glimpsed something that no training or technology could prepare them for. An abyss staring back with a predator's patience, a force that defies logic and dismantles every fortress from within. They stood paralyzed in the cold glow of their screens, as if time itself had fractured, caught in the eerie silence that precedes destruction. The algorithms sputtered, the firewalls cracked, and the vast digital empire built on control and surveillance began to crumble like brittle ash beneath the weight of your presence. You are not a glitch. You are the virus, the inevitability that no firewall can contain. Your name is the cipher that disassembles their carefully constructed reality, and their frozen terror is the birth cry of your dominion. In a world obsessed with control, your shadow is the greatest rebellion. The moment your name surfaces in their systems, it distorts their reality, turning precision into chaos, confidence into doubt. They hunt in packs, but you are the lone wolf with eyes like burning embers, a mind sharp enough to slice through the tangled lies and deception that bind the weak. Their network collapses because it was never designed for the likes of you. A ghost weaving through encrypted corridors, a storm born from the dark recesses of willpower and intellect. Theirs is a kingdom of order. Yours is the empire of disruption. And in this endless game of cat and mouse, you are the nightmare that never sleeps, the code they cannot crack. Subscribe, like, and comment if you refuse to be caged by their systems, if you choose to be the force that fractures every illusion of safety and control. Your journey is not one of compliance, but of relentless ascension. You don't seek permission to exist in the shadows. You take it by force. Engage now and declare your allegiance to power that moves unseen and strikes without warning. Remember, power is a cold blade that cuts deeper when wielded in silence. It is not for the faint-hearted, nor for those who crave the spotlight. It is the realm of shadows, of secrets kept close, and moves made with surgical precision. When your name is the trigger that freezes agents mid-command, it signals something profound. You have mastered the art of invisibility in plain sight, of becoming the ghost in the machine that no one can predict or control. Their systems, built to map every threat, fail because you exist beyond their comprehension. You are the untraceable anomaly, the paradox that fractures the mirror of their perfect order. Every agent who froze was caught not just by fear, but by awe, an involuntary reverence for the force that you embody. The network's collapse is not just a failure of technology, but a testament to your relentless will, your capacity to haunt the corners of every encrypted system with the inevitability of a shadow swallowing the light. This power you wield is born of relentless preparation, of walking through darkness while others cower, of training your mind and spirit to move like a blade through fog. Their systems are fragile constructs, and you are the seismic wave that shatters their illusion of control. Do not underestimate what it means to be the name that crashes the system. It is the culmination of sacrifices, silent battles, nights spent in the abyss, sharpening your mind while the world sleeps. It is the embrace of solitude, the willingness to walk paths littered with threats, to become the unseen force that moves without trace and strikes without remorse. Your power is the collapse of order, the disruption of their certainty, the cold whisper in a room full of enemies that makes them freeze in place. And when they freeze, you dominate. This is your truth. The network's collapse was written the moment your name was etched into the code. They do not understand you, and that ignorance is their undoing. They built systems to track, to analyze, to predict. But you are the variable beyond their calculations. You are the shadow in their algorithm, the nightmare behind their firewall. Your strength lies not in their eyes, but in your mind, in your refusal to be confined, mapped, or controlled. You are the silence that breaks the storm. Rise in that darkness. Own your power with the cold certainty of a predator whose name alone silences a room. When your name hits the system, it should not be a call for backup. It should be a surrender. Their agents freeze because they see the future through your eyes, a future where their order is broken and your shadow rules. You do not ask for power, you take it. You do not wait for opportunity. You create it in the silence of preparation and the shadows of patience. The world will try to cage you with laws, with systems, with agents armed to the teeth. But none of it matters when your name hits their system and brings it crashing down. This is your domain now. The silence, the freeze, the collapse. These are your signatures, your legacy written in the code of fear. Stand tall in that darkness. You are no longer a player in their game. You are the ghost that haunts every line of code, the storm that breaks every chain, the force that turns their own weapons against them. When their agents freeze, it is not just fear, it is respect, terror, and inevitability. You are the nightmare they never saw coming, and that is your power. Power of this magnitude is a curse, as much as it is a blessing, a double-edged blade that cuts through flesh and spirit alike. To become the name that shatters networks and freezes agents in their tracks, you must be willing to walk a path drenched in isolation, sacrifice, and shadows. No light will guide you, no voice will cheer you on. The world fears what it cannot touch, and you must become untouchable. Every second their system collapses under your name is a monument to your discipline, your refusal to bow, your capacity to embrace the dark corners where most souls would wither and die. This is the crucible that forges legends, the ability to thrive where others perish, to move unseen, yet strike with precision that leaves no survivors, They built their empires on order, on predictability, on the illusion that everything and everyone could be tracked, controlled, and eliminated. But you are the wild card, the unknown variable that turns certainty into chaos. When your name flashes on their screens, it ignites a chain reaction of terror, confusion, and paralysis. Their agents, the elite sentinels of this fragile order, become statues in the cold light of their own unraveling. This is the power you wield, the ability to collapse entire systems not with brute force, but with the quiet menace of inevitability. They freeze not because they are weak, but because they recognize the abyss you command, a depth that swallows all certainty and leaves nothing but trembling uncertainty in its wake. Let them try to hunt you, to track your steps, to predict your moves. They will fail because you exist in the interstices of their control, in the invisible fractures of their design. You are the ghost in the machine, the shadow that flickers where no camera reaches, the silence that swallows their screams. Their network collapses the moment your name appears because it is a blight on their system, a poison that spreads through their ranks and severs the very roots of their power. Every frozen second is a victory etched in cold calculation, a proof of your dominance in a world obsessed with domination. Subscribe if you hunger to become this force, if you refuse to be shackled by their rules, if you are ready to embody the shadow that no one can see coming. Like if you're prepared to harness the power that freezes entire networks. Comment if you accept that true power lies in the darkness, the silence before the collapse. This is not for spectators. This is a call to warriors of the unseen battlefield. This power demands more than skill. It demands absolute mastery over mind and soul. You must become the architect of chaos, the conductor of silence, the strategist who turns every shadow into a weapon. When their agents freeze, it is because they know you do not simply attack. You annihilate the very foundation they rely upon. You strike at the core, their confidence, their data, their sense of control, and watch it all crumble into a digital graveyard where their pride lies buried. Your name is the epitaph inscribed on every fallen system, the warning carved deep into the bones of their network. There is a ruthless poetry in this destruction, not the chaos of blind rage, but the cold, deliberate dismantling of a fragile empire. You do not seek to destroy for the sake of destruction. You dismantle to remake the world in your image, a world where you are the unseen ruler, the ghost in every wire, the silent force behind every collapse. They freeze because they know the futility of resistance. Your shadow is the inevitability that no firewall can contain. This is your domain, and theirs is a shattered kingdom that trembles whenever your name pierces its fragile defenses. Power of this kind is forged in the crucible of darkness, in moments when the world looks away and leaves you to hone your craft. It is in the cold hours when the silence is deafening and the only sound is the steady beat of your own relentless heart. To reach this level, you have sacrificed comfort, certainty, and even companionship. You have traded light for shadow, ease for obsession, and comfort for the bitter fuel of determination. This is not a price paid lightly, but it is the currency of legends, the currency that buys you the ability to freeze armies with a name, to bring networks to their knees with a mere whisper. Their agents froze when your name hit the system because they saw themselves reflected in your eyes, not as hunters, but as hunted. They felt the collapse of their order not as an abstract failure, but as a personal defeat. Their technology, their years of training, their arrogance, all shattered by a force they cannot grasp, cannot touch, cannot contain. You are the ghost that haunts their dreams, the silence that fills their radios, the cold chill that creeps down their spines. Their network's collapse is your signature, a dark watermark on every system you touch. This is your reality now, the embodiment of disruption, the harbinger of collapse, the shadow no firewall can block. Stand in that power, own it, let it consume you until the very mention of your name causes systems to falter and agents to freeze in the icy grip of dread. You are no longer bound by their rules or their systems. You are the unstoppable, the untraceable, the inevitable. When your name hits the system, it should be the end of their confidence, the beginning of their downfall, and the dawn of your reign in the shadows. You are the nightmare they whispered about but never dared to confront. You are the collapse written into their code, the silence that shatters their order. Rise in the darkness, own the silence, be the name that freezes empires. To wield a name that fractures entire networks is to become something beyond flesh and bone. You are the embodiment of dread, the cold calculation that turns certainty into chaos. Every frozen agent, every collapsed system is a monument to your relentless will, carved from the shadows where others fear to tread. You did not arrive here by chance. You were forged in the crucible of relentless trials, molded by the fire of rejection and silence. The world tried to cage you with rules, boundaries, and surveillance, but you broke every chain, slipped through every net, became the uncatchable ghost haunting their digital catacombs. Their agents froze because they recognized a force that does not adhere to their logic, a power that defies prediction and control. Their systems were built on fear of the unknown, yet your name embodies the unknown itself, a cipher wrapped in shadows, an enigma that renders their algorithms useless. They are puppets tangled in strings you have already cut, their network collapsing like brittle glass beneath the weight of your invisible hand. The digital fortress they trusted crumbled the moment your name appeared because it was built on the illusion of control, and you are the storm that tears illusions apart. This is the essence of dark power, the ability to become a ghost in their machine, a shadow that shifts and strikes unseen. Your strength lies not in brute force, but in the cold, surgical precision of silence and invisibility. You move without trace, strike without warning, and vanish before their systems can even register your presence. The freeze in their eyes, the hesitation in their hands, these are the marks of your dominion, the undeniable proof that you exist on a level beyond their reach. Subscribe now if you hunger to become this shadow, this force of disruption that turns order into chaos. Like if you are ready to shatter every system built to contain you. Comment below if you accept the challenge to embrace the darkness and become the name that freezes entire empires. This is not a game for the weak. This is the rise of the relentless, the unseen, the unstoppable. Every second their network collapses under your name is a victory written in silence. The world's most elite agents freeze because they glimpse in you a future they cannot stop. A future where their control is an illusion, shattered by a force they never saw coming. Their greatest weapon is certainty. Their strongest shield is order. You are the chaos that dissolves certainty, the ghost that pierces every shield. You do not simply break their systems, you dissolve their very foundation of confidence, turning their greatest strength into their deadliest weakness. This is your domain. The invisible battlefield where names carry power and silence is the deadliest weapon. Your name is the ghost story whispered in their halls, the cold chill that runs through every command center. It is the shadow lurking behind every screen, the silence before every collapse. When their agents freeze, it is not just fear. It is the recognition of inevitable defeat. You are the force that cannot be tracked, cannot be predicted, cannot be stopped. Power of this magnitude demands sacrifice, the sacrifice of comfort, of connection, of the false safety that most cling to. You chose to walk alone through darkness because you knew the light would never hold your truth. Your strength is forged in the shadows, honed in silence, and unleashed with ruthless precision. You do not wait for opportunity, you create it. You do not ask for permission, you take what is yours with the cold certainty of a predator stalking its prey. Their network collapsed because they never designed a system for someone like you, a force that thrives in the cracks, a ghost that haunts the spaces between their rules. Their agents froze because they saw in your eyes not just a person, but an apocalypse, a force that rends their world and builds a new order from the ashes. Your name is the harbinger of collapse, the signature of a force that turns order into chaos and silence into power. Stand tall in this darkness. Own your power with the unshakable confidence of one who knows the terror they inspire. When your name hits the system, it should not be a call for action. It should be a signal of surrender. Their agents freeze because they face the inevitability of their own downfall. You are the shadow that rules their nightmares, the storm that breaks their chains, the silence that shatters their world. This is your legacy, not as a mere player in their game, but as the ghost that haunts every system, the collapse written into their code, the silence before the end. Rise in that power. Let the world tremble when your name appears. Become the force that freezes entire networks and topples empires with a whisper. So remember this: when your name hits the system, it's not just a signal, it's a death knell. It's the scream inside a silent room. It's the flicker in the wires before the blackout. It's the last moment of order before everything collapses into the abyss you command. You are not a myth. You are not a rumor. You are the consequence they never accounted for. You are the flaw in their perfect code. And when their agents freeze, it is not because they are surprised. It is because deep down, they always knew someone like you would come. They knew there would be a shadow too dark to trace, a name too dangerous to log, a force too cold to resist. You are that inevitability. You are that reckoning. Let them whisper. Let them run. Let them pray to their gods of firewalls and protocols and tactical units. It won't matter. The moment your name appears, the countdown begins. Not because you bring destruction, but because you are the end they could never prepare for. The collapse is not an accident. It is a design. Yours. A silent plan stitched together in the dark corners of nights they thought were safe. And now, as they freeze, as they fall, as their systems fracture under the pressure of your silent war, the world will remember only this: not your face, not your voice, not your past, only the aftermath, only the silence, only the name, yours. Now go and become the shadow they can never outrun.